Good day and Happy New Year, everyone. I am Danica or Asuncion, and I am your reporter for today. Before we proceed to our lesson, may I ask you first, how much did you know about your culture? Are you proud of that? What is your native languages? What family traditions did you have growing up? How would you show respect to older people? And last but not the least, how would you define culture? Yes, definitely our topic for today is all about culture. When we say culture, what comes in your mind? Maybe some of you are thinking culture is a nation, culture is an ethnicity, culture is a diversity, culture is what makes us unique. Culture is history, traditions, countries, people, nations, and so on. But what really culture is? Culture plays an important role in everyone's life and also to our society. It acts as an accumulation, storage, and transmissions of everyone's experiences. But according to Dresser, culture is a social heritage transmitted from one generation to another and that is shared. Ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Sinasabi ni Dresser na ang kultura daw ay isang pamana sa atin sa lipunan na ipinadala mula pa sa isang henerasyon, ipinasa sa isa at ibinabahagi. Next one is according to Smith Stanley Insurance. According to them, culture is a fabric of ideas, skills, tools, aesthetics, objects, method of thinking, costume, and institutions into each member of society is born. What does it mean? Ang sabi nila, ang kultura daw ay isang tela ng mga idea, kasanayan, kasangkapan, magagandang mga bagay, paraan ng pag-iisip, kaugalian, at institusyon sa bawat membro ng lipunan. Next one is according to Bertrand. Culture is a complex whole which includes knowledge, beliefs, arts, morals, law, custom, and other capabilities gained by man as a member of society. Ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Sabi ni Bertrand, ang kultura daw ay isang masalimuot na kabuuan na kinabibilangan ng kaalaman, paniniwala, sining, batas, moralidad at iba pa sa ating membro ng lipunan. Next one is according to Clyde Clochon or Clochon. According to him, historically created design for living implicit and implicit rational or non-rational which exists at any given time as potential guides for behavior. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? According to Clyde, ang isang kultura daw ay isang makasaysayang nilikha para sa disenyo, para sa pamumuhay, tahasan at hindi malinaw, makatwiran na umiiral sa anumang partikular na oras o bagay sa isang potensyal para gabay sa ating pag-uugali. Next one is according to American College Dictionary. According to this dictionary, culture at a particular stage or state of civilization of a nation or period such as Greek culture, some total way of living built up by a group of human beings and transmitted from one generation to generation. Parang ganoon din po sa nauna, ito po isang kabuuan ng pamamaraan ng pamumuhay na ibinabahagi sa isang henerasyon patungo sa isa at ibinabahagi mula sa iba pa. Next one is according to Reagan. According to him, the environmental man has made consisting of artifacts, ideas, language, attitude, beliefs, costumes, or existing at a particular time and place. Ano po ang ibig sabihin ni Reagan dito? Sabi niya, ang kapiligiran ginagawa ng tao ay binubuo ng artifact, ideya, wika, ugali, paniniwala, ugalian na umiiral sa isang particular na panahon at lugar. Let's move on to the classification of culture. Next one is static. It emphasizes cultural transmission. The same culture is passed on from one generation to generation. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? Ang static po ay nagbibigay din ng kultura na ipinapasa mula sa isang henerasyon hanggang henerasyon ulit. Next one is the dynamic. When we say dynamic, when it emphasizes change and goes through revision from each generation. Ito ay nagbibigay diin sa pagbabago at dumadaan sa revision sa bawat henerasyon. Next one is the stable. stable where folkways and mores are satisfying. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? Mas nagiging edukado ang individual na nagiging kumbinsido na siya sa bawat dumaan na revisions mula sa isang dynamic. Next one is the unstable culture, where school pay attention to developing worthwhile values and how would you classify our culture. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? Ang paaralan po ay nagbibigay pansin o tuon sa pagbuo ng pakipakinabang na halaga at paano natin iuri ang ating kultura. Let's move on to the forms of culture, which is material or non-material. Material culture consists of tangible things. What do you mean by tangible things? When we say tangible things, ito po yung mga bagay na nakikita at nahahawakan natin. Example, house, chair, tools, equipments, and so on. Next is non-material culture refers to what is symbolic or intangible. What do you mean by intangible? Ito po yung mga bagay na hindi natin nakikita, which means example, sentiments, folkways, more system of beliefs, and so on. Example of non-material culture. Folkways are traditional ways of doing things in a certain culture. Halimbawa po ng folkways is yung pamamanhikan dito sa Pilipinas. It is called as folkways. Next is mores, are heavily sanctioned folkways for group survival and are accepted without question as they embody moral views of the groups. Example dito is yung tradition ng mga Muslim. Next is customs. It means habitual practice. Example po nito is yung mabibless tayo sa parents natin or ikikiss after church o pag-uwi po ng bahay. O yung mga gawain natin na kapag kumakain tayo is yung nagtatawag tayo ng bisita. Next one is beliefs. Is also part of non-material culture. Example, here in Pangasinan, pag pupunta tayo sa bukid, di ba po, nagtatabi-tabi tayo. It is example of beliefs or paniniwala nating mga Pangasinense. Next one, let's move on to the components of culture. Binubuo rin po ito ng dalawa, which is the culture complex and culture pattern. Culture complex, combination of related traits. Ito po ay kombinasyon ng kaugnay na katangian. Example nito is yung football complex, superiority complex. Next one is yung culture pattern. It is a combination of culture complex. Ito po ay nagsasabi ng tiyak na paraan sa pag-uugali. Halimbawa po nito sa mga Americans is yung pag-shake hands nila. Sa mga Eskimos, yung touch nose. Sa mga Thailand naman, put hands together and blow. Sa mga Japanese naman po is yung pagbabaw. And sa ating mga Pilipino is yung pagbe-bless, pagkikiss, at saka pagtatawag ng mga bisita kapag tayo ay kumakain. Next one, let's move on to the functions of culture. Makes communication possible through communication language. What does it mean? Sa pamamagitan ng kultura, posible ang komunikasyon. 2. Provides standard for right and wrong. Ito po ay nagbibigay pamantayan sa tama at mali. Give sense of identity and belongings. Ito po ay nagbibigay pakiramdam at pagkakakilanlan sa isang pag-aari. Example, sa mga Christian, premarital sex is immoral but to the ignorant, hindi ito immoral. It is moral to them. Sa mga Muslim naman, it is alright to have more than one wife, but sa mga Christian, ito po ay tinatrato nila bilang isang immoral. Next one is a tattooed body is okay and considered beautiful to the African tribes, but to the eyes of many, it's not, diba? Now, let's move on to the characteristic of culture. Only human culture possess culture. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? Tanging lipunan lang po ng mga tao ang nagtataglay ng kultura kasi hindi naman po pwedeng hayop, yung baka may kultura din, tama? Next one. Human culture vary considerably although they resemble each other in some respect. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? Napakalaki ng kultura ng tao na kahit magkahawig sila sa isang aspeto. The third one, culture tends persist once learned and accepted. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? Ang kultura daw po ay patuloy na natututunan, lumalaganap at tinatanggap. The fourth one, culture changes gradually and continuously. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? Ito po ay paunti-unti at patuloy-tuloy na lumalaki at nagbabago. The fifth one, culture exists in minds of men who learn it from previous generation and use it to guide their conduct with others. Ang kultura daw po ay umiiral sa isipan ng tao na natututunan sa nakaraang henerasyon na ginagamit upang batayan sa pag-uugali ng iba. The sixth one, there is a tendency to borrow from other culture. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? May posibilidad na manghiram ang isang kultura sa iba pang kultura. The seventh one, members of a culture may behave differently from Visayas although they are both Filipinos. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? Maaring iba ang pag-uugali ng membro ng isang kultura sa mga Bisaya bagamat parehas silang Pilipino. The eighth one, no person can escape entirely from his culture. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? Walang taong ganap na makakatakas sa kanilang kultura. And let's move on to the set of culture. I will just place it here and explain it to you. Set of characteristic of culture. Culture is considered with action, ideas, and artifacts which individuals learn, share, and value. Others call this organized group behavior and institution. Culture may be regarded as a historical phenomenon originating through invention and spread by diffusion. Culture may be regarded as a regional phenomenon, geographic or locality distribution. Culture tends to be patterned repetition of similar approved behavior so that it has a form of structure. Culture elements have a function. Culture tends to be integrated unity of premises, values, and goals. Culture is subject to change. Culture is valid to the extent that the locality way of life is well-defined, homogeneous, stable. Culture is sometimes designated as a system where interrelated elements are treated as whole. Culture is symbolic, meanings attached to artifacts and personal motivations.